And this is how a lot of my clients get their start while having a full-time job.
We covered last time that wholesaling real estate is kind of the perfect entry point for a beginner like myself to start investing in real estate, because I have no experience, limited capital to actually start investing in it. And it's like the quickest avenue to start, producing these kind of 5-figure checks, hopefully in a short amount of time, right? Which is kind of what I'm looking for in this current state of my life. So just as a quick recap, can you kind of go over what wholesaling is specifically?
Yeah. So wholesaling real estate, what we need to understand, we're never actually buying the property. That's not our goal with wholesaling real estate, which also makes it so desirable, such an awesome way to get started in real estate, right? A lot of people don't have millions of dollars to buy any piece of real estate they want. So how I got started in real estate over 12 years ago was wholesaling real estate, which is when we put a property under contract to buy, a distressed property, and we put it under contract. And keep in mind, it doesn't cost any money to put a property under contract. When I say that, you're not buying the property, you're just putting it under contract. Once you do that, you acquire the rights to buy it. Now, when we wholesale a house, once you acquire the rights to buy it by putting the house under contract, we then sell the rights of that contract to an end buyer, typically called a cash buyer. These cash buyers want these deals. They're typically fix and flippers, flipping multiple houses per month, so they want you to bring them deals. And they're ecstatic to pay you wholesale fees for these deals. A wholesale fee is once you assign those contract rights to them, you can get paid, around the sorts of $10,000 per deal, $15,000. We've had deals much more than that, less than that, but generally we like to shoot for $10,000 per deal. So it's a great entry point, right? You don't have to fix and flip the house. You're not hiring contractors and managing contractors. You're not having to re-put the house back on the market once you fix it up. You're not developing on a house. You're just putting a house under contract. So it's the simplest way to get started. And also you do not need a real estate license to do this. So if you want to get into real estate pretty darn quickly, you just need to learn the steps and then take action with it.
Right.
Yeah.
So a little off script here, but like say I'm a wholesaler. I've been doing this for a little bit of a while now, just, dream future of mine. I start getting deals on a consistent basis. Should I just kind of quit my 9-to-5 and pursue it full time? What would you recommend in that?
Yeah. Absolutely. So anyone who wants to get started wholesaling real estate off the bat, if you don't know anything about wholesaling real estate and you have a full-time job right now, number one, cash flow and income is extremely important. Keep your current job. Don't just quit everything cold turkey, and don't quit your job and cut off your own cash flow. And then because what's going to happen is you're now going to put very restrictive deadlines on yourself to be able to wholesale your first house. You're going to cut corners. You're going to have people tell you exactly what you need to do, and you're not going to do it. And then you're going to say, oh, real estate doesn't work. This doesn't work. I shouldn't have quit my job. So in the situation you provided with me, you said, hey, down the line, I'm already doing multiple deals. Yeah. Let's say in that situation, what we're going to talk about today is while you have a full-time job, how you can get started, get consistency, at least doing a deal a month, making $10,000 a month, hopefully. What I recommend for anyone who's serious about this business and wants to be a real estate investor and wants to get started with wholesaling real estate is have at least 3 months of consistency, at least 3 months of you doing a deal per month. That's averaged you about $10,000. Mm-hmm. This way, by the end of those 90 days, those 3 months, you have the confidence, you have the consistency. You've proven to yourself that this wasn't luck, right? This wasn't like a one-off deal that you did and it just fell in your lap and you got it done. You have 3 months of consistency. Yeah. That should give you the confidence and the courage to then pursue this full time. So not only the consistency, but also the cash in your bank, right? The rainy day fund. If you close 3 deals at $10,000, by the end of 90 days, you should have roughly maybe $20,000 in your bank account, give or take your expenses, and that should give you runway. That's important. So you can make rational decisions. You can actually keep on learning the right way and keep on doing the things that you did already because you've proven it for 90 days, right? We've been doing this for 12 years. If it's worked in the previous 90 days, if it's worked the last 12 years, pretty confident it's going to keep on working. So only quit your job. I do not recommend quitting your job. If you don't have a track record, you don't have experience, you haven't actually done the steps to do this, don't do that. It's admirable to burn the ships 100% and just go all in on something. But when we're talking about taking care of your family, when we're talking about taking care of your loved ones, taking care of yourself, do not cut off your job and your income source because you absolutely can do this with 10, 15 hours a week and get started. So you want that consistency first.
Yeah, I mean, a little unbelievable. And the reason why I kind of asked that is, I mean, I have a full-time job. I work, the normal 9 to 5, sometimes even more. I have family, friends, hobbies. It doesn't seem possible without cutting something out, and then if this can be my main income source, automatically I'm like, oh, I can just quit my job and just do it full time. But so for the people who are like me and kind of believe there isn't time, what do you have to say to them and us?
For sure. Like, this is the excuse since the beginning of time, right? So every one of us, there's 168 hours in a week. We all have that. Right? Look at any serious CEO, business person, they just manage their time very effectively. And so, being successful, in my opinion, it's not about like working really harder or like, man, I got to focus more. It's really flipping it on its head and saying, what can I eliminate? Right. It is about sacrifices. Yeah. It is about taking an observational look at what are you doing with your time on a weekly basis and saying, what are those things that I can cut out? What are those things that I can eliminate? So if we do a quick Google search and we say, how many hours a day do Americans use their phone? And we're going to see that it's typically about 4.5 hours. The phone is like the new TV. All right. So if you know that you're on Instagram, you're on TikTok, you're mindlessly scrolling through there, maybe you start to cut that down an hour a day. Right there, an hour, that's 7 hours in a week. We're almost 50% there to having, 15 hours of more available time. There's a lot of people that like sports, right? I deal with people that want to watch their favorite team win a playoff game, especially in basketball. There's lots of games, or baseball, and they watch the whole entire game during the weekdays, and there's multiple games during the weekdays. I challenge them to not watch the full entire game, maybe watch the last inning, watch the last quarter, or better yet, watch the 5-minute highlights instead of the 2-3 hours of that game. The other thing too is like, you may have to skip watching those brand new episodes of your favorite TV show, right? You may have to wait. If you're serious about changing your life, if you're serious about taking care of your family, you may have to wait 6 to 12 months to then binge watch all in one day all these TV shows later on once you have success in this field, rather than watching that every single week. So those are just a few ways on how we can create time. And I think if anyone takes a serious audit of their time, they'll be able to see like, wow, I'm doing things that in retrospect are actually hurting my success. Right. Right. We've dealt with younger people that are going out drinking on the weekends, and even, older adults, right? You're going to a bar, you're staying up late at night, you're drinking, that affects your next day and the day after that. It's cutting those things out. And so one thing I did do, I created an 80-20 time matrix on things that actually produce income for us, activities that are good for us. I'll put that in the downloads below. It's just a great way to observe and audit our own time and make sure we're focusing on the most important actions. And so I created this just so anyone can look at it and see like, man, I am watching that Netflix. I am watching 4 quarters of that basketball game. Mm-hmm. I am partying maybe a little too much. I am, doing a little, I am talking about, I am saying, hey man, I want to get results, but my actions aren't really showing that I want to get results. So I created that resource. Anyone can download it and it will help them create more time.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much. Just to go off of that, like you started when you were, kind of young, right? Yeah. 19 or so. What was like the catalyst moment for you where you were like, wow, I can make time by just cutting this thing out? Was there like a big kind of shift in your thinking when you were like, wow, like this is where I'm going to create my 80-20?
Yeah. I mean, 2 things happened. Number one, a really close relative passed away, like very just abrupt, out of the blue. And it made me realize that, he was very young. So we don't have unlimited time. I better use my time to the best of my ability as much as possible. So that was one thing that made me want to audit that time. Another thing, I did go to college for a little bit. And at college, I did join a fraternity. And we had to, thankfully, this was a fraternity that wasn't really about like partying. It was really about being your best self. And we had to do a lot of tasks, a lot of things, a lot of interviews in a very short amount of time. And I learned how to manage my time in 15-minute increments. Right. So where a lot of people say like, hey, you can't do that, or that's impossible, or I don't have enough time. if you start looking at your time in 15-minute increments, you're going to see you have a large amount of time. And if you start reverse engineering your days, planning your days tomorrow, actually the night before, you can significantly get you can get a lot more done than someone that doesn't believe that they can do that. So those two things, that happened at 19, 20, and just completely changed my mindset to where, if an employee or business partner says, man, I don't have enough time, then what we're going to do is have a strategy session together on how we can create more time. Yeah. We're gonna do an audit. We're gonna say, hey, what are the things that you're working on that aren't necessary, and what are the things we need to work on that are completely necessary? Yeah. Where are we being inefficient with our time? To the point where I just, like for example, with my time, I was going to a gym that was 8 minutes away every morning, and I just signed up for a gym that's 4 minutes away. Yeah. Just to save that that time every single day. Like that's how I'm trying to dial in my time. And still a great gym, things like that, but it's like that adds up once you start to look at that every single day. If I'm going to the gym, that's 10 minutes every single day. Right. And you know what? Across a week, I go to the gym 6 days a week. So that's an hour a week I now save, basically because I'm going to a gym that's 4 minutes closer. Yeah. So when we start doing that, like now I just create an hour a week for myself. Yeah. And we can do that across the board for anything that we do. So I challenge anyone here, if you feel like you don't have the time, you actually do have the time. And we all have our own responsibilities, right? You might have children. It might be asking a family member to watch our children for us. It might be, paying a little extra for that daycare. It might be asking yourself the question, how can I work with my child while pursuing wholesaling real estate? Watching them at the same time, not just, there's a lot of things that you can do. You could have your baby on your lap while making some calls,
Imagine there's like some students that you teach who have families,
tons,
and full-time position, and they're still able to do it. Like, do you have any examples on top of your head?
Yeah, we just released an interview with Chase and Diana Kenny. They both have full-time jobs. They both, they have children, of course. Yeah. And they're able to wholesale. They had no real estate experience, and they wholesaled their first deals and made $40,000 from 2 deals and submitted about 8 offers doing that. So, got that from 8 offers, and so you just see it time and time again. And from a young age, I've always try to surround myself with successful people, going to events or going to speaking events, whether it's locally or nationally, whatever it is, to the point that just by being around these people and seeing that, okay, everyone is human, everyone does have their own responsibilities and hindrances, but every successful person doesn't let them hold that back, right? And so the point of us releasing our interviews of our students and showing these wins, it's not to brag or anything like that, but so that other people can be like, darn, I really can do this. Like, it doesn't matter if you're white, blue, black, yellow, green. Like, it doesn't matter. Right. You can do this. Doesn't matter if you have an accent and English isn't your first language. Yeah. That we've had students like that are, immigrants and be able to wholesale real estate. So it's really just understanding, hey, what are those things that are holding me back and or that I think are holding me back, and then just totally crushing those obstacles. And so one of the biggest ones is time, which is why we wanted to crush that one today. Be on the lookout for the next video in this series. And if you want to build a hyper-profitable wholesaling and flipping business, then check out my full in-depth training at realestateskills.com/watch. I'll see you there, and happy wholesaling.